call me out of touch if you'd like. I would certainly understand. But there's one thing I don't understand, and that's Pokemon cards, clearly. I understand the appeal of, like, trying to hit that big card to come out of a pack and trying to sell it, or maybe collect it, right? Selling it, I could totally understand, but collecting it, not so much. Not really my thing. You can strike me over the head with a rock, Rust style, if you'd like for that. Just probably thinking to yourself, just why are we even discussing this? What are we getting at here? What's the goal? Well, the other day I saw this. I got off of work. It was pretty late. I had to grab a couple things to meal prep for the next morning, and I didn't know what the fuck this was. I gotta be upfront with you. I had no idea what this was, so I went to go ahead and check. I thought it was like some Pokemon Go thing, and I saw the big logo. And I've noticed some like hype around Pokemon Go more and more recently, so I was like, okay, it might be something I just don't understand. Maybe they're doing some ARG thing going on. Again, not into Pokemon cards over here, bud. Did not know what was going on, and I looked into it a little bit further, and it's a Pokemon card vending machine and other items, whatever you would get out of it, right? Now, this struck me as particularly odd because in the current state of the United States, that things are just starting to get locked up, but Pokemon cards wasn't really the thing to get locked up. And I started to do a little bit of research, and then I remembered seeing clips of people beating each other up in a Costco over Pokemon cards, and I was thinking, like, this has got to be some like weird niche thing, right? It was not. It is happening almost everywhere. If you are new around here, I recommend hitting that subscribe button and joining the Discord server in the link below. I am trying to grow the community a little bit here, and also letting me know in the comments what I can do to improve on the content. I'm currently working on getting a vocal booth up and running, and it's halfway in the works, so I do apologize if the audio is a little shoddy and you can pick up some background there. I'm really trying to go ahead and get some other things going, especially voice work. That's something I'm trying to get into, and it's going to be a little bit of a trip here, so bear with me. Long story short, you've probably seen some clips like what I'm about to show on screen. Obviously, most of these are from TikTok, and they put a bunch of just copyrighted music over top of it because it's the trending thing of the week. And for some reason, it's just filling up the entire page, and I can do nothing about it. I'm going to get no raw audio. You can tell this is pissing me off. Can you tell this is pissing me off? My personal gripes aside, I decided to do a little bit more research and a little bit more and a little bit more. I'm not just going to leave it at like a 2-minute, like, yeah, people are beating the shit out of each other. Grandma's catching the left elbow. That 10-year-old over there catching a drop kick. It's absolutely insane. The long and short of it is that they're really just coming down to these specialty cards that come into these packs. And there's got to be some sort of way that maybe not just paying for a specific pack or a specific theme, whatever is going on in that realm, maybe we can move on to theft. And then if theft just isn't working, just stealing Pokemon cards isn't working enough for you, bud. Weirdly enough, I was not anticipating this. You could just hit them bitches with metal detectors. Now, I don't need to explain to you why theft is bad. I don't need to explain to you how gambling is bad for your brain. I don't need to explain any of that to you. It's part of the reason why certain things are just so addictive, It's just one of those things. But this, on the other hand, is not just bad for the consumer side. It also goes pretty bad for the business side. They can't sell a shitload of packs because if people are going around and only buying the packs that they know has something in it, that's bad for the business, for one thing. Well, we're going to go ahead and step this up in tiers here. So the business has a bunch of product that can no longer move, defeating the purpose of the majority of playing cards being out there. And most of them won't even go into circulation when it comes to the general market. But the overwhelming whole of them just won't move anywhere because they don't get fucking sold. So the business loses money, and there's a bunch of waste everywhere, and no one knows what the fuck to do with it all because no one really wants it, right? That's part of the opening a pack. You get some stuff you don't want. You use it maybe in a couple with friends or matches or whatever, or they just become fucking waste. But let's say, hypothetically, you weren't wasting all of them. That's not happening anymore. That's just not happening. All of them are going to fucking waste. The whole pack's going to waste. It doesn't sound good when I say it out loud like that, but that's honestly just the reality. I know the majority of people who collect Pokemon cards are not keeping every single little fucking card in that pack. That's just how things go. The next thing that causes problems is that the only thing that is getting bought is, of course, these rare cards. Well, a bunch of them are now flooding the market, right? Much faster, at a much faster rate. The market now has to adjust for this, and you can only imagine the consequences of this. And I feel like it's already being sort of felt, but not really discussed as much Maybe I'm not in on the inner circle as much because, like I said before, I am not that into Pokemon cards, but I can only imagine it's not good to have a shitload of these things coming in as fast as possible on the daily, you know what I'm saying? They're supposed to be rare for a fucking reason, and what those like packs that don't really have anything super special or there's less rare cards are doing is mitigating the amount of time between each card coming in, right? Let's multiply that by like 100,000 when we're looking at like one person. Let's say 100,000 people are doing this. Fucking bump those numbers up, baby, because that's a lot of fucking people. So you have just about like anyone who has access to Amazon, right, can go get a metal detector and change the sensitivity just a little bit in order for it to detect the smallest amount of foil on one of these holo cards in one of these packs. And that's all it takes, dude. It's really not that hard. Anyone could do this shit. And if that just sounds bizarre, it gets even more bizarre because I found out myself that there's a service or set of people who basically get together and they do CT scans. That's right, CT scans on your packs if you request them. Some people are doing it themselves, which I don't even know how they're fucking doing this without anyone going like, hey dude, can we not do x-rays on our fucking Pokemon cards at work, please? It's not something we generally use that fucking thing for. I'll provide a brief explanation onto like how this system is really working and what's going on by OKJ Love over on YouTube. Go ahead and check that channel out. I'll go ahead and put the little name up here. Yeah.
You can kind of see the ability there, Dew Guard, that's for a Miletich. But if you go a little bit further, and you can see that green rectangle square in the bottom right corner, that's the plane that you're viewing. You can see there that they've managed to pick up a Garbodor VMAX. So this is crazy because there are a lot of layers of plastic and cardboard. You've got the dice markers, you've got just a bunch of stuff kind of like obfuscating the view there, but they still managed to find a card scanning an ETB. And in classic Evolving Skies fashion, it's the only hit in the ETB. You gotta love it.
Now that last two things that I just mentioned, the whole CT scan and the metal detector, you know, I think we can pretty much have a little bit of a discourse there about that. Like, what do people genuinely think? I genuinely want to see if anyone has an opinion about this in the comments, because I've seen quite a few things online generally about like this, and they have opinions. They for sure feel like they for sure have opinions. There's nothing you can do to really stop that, especially when it always comes back to Reddit. You cannot stop those people from just like typing each other's addresses in the chat. But for the most part, like the theft and the whole trying to avoid gambling, you know, those are pretty easy to tell what's going on there, right? It's pretty obvious to point that one out. But this one, I genuinely feel conflicted about. On one hand, like I get chased the bag. And on the other hand, it feels morally wrong to like fuck over the whole system that's going on there. But at the same time, won't you feel manipulated if you're buying packs and you get nothing out of it, but you're also not supposed to be guaranteed anything? And that's pretty much the majority of the argument that I've seen online. You know, it's just no one can really make up their mind. Let me know what you think about that. Anyway, this one's a little bit of a shorter one. Thank you for watching all the way through. This has been your little insight into what's happening into a random part of the corner of the internet. And yeah, this shit's a little bizarre to me. I like seeing like Black Friday fist fights out of nowhere. They just happen. They've been happening less and less every year as people start to realize the internet is still a fucking thing and they can just buy their shit online and price track online as well without having to get fucked over constantly. But seeing seeing these fights are kind of nice. You know, maybe I'm a bad person for this, but it's nice to see that despite everything that we've been through together as a society, we still find shit to punch the other person in the throat over. It's great. It's great. Anyway, thank you for watching all the way through. Like if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. Let me know in the comments what I can do to improve on the videos, because the feedback not only helps me grow the channel, but it also gets the video recommended to more people, so that way they can provide more feedback, and the cycle really just continues in a very positive loop, at least for me. I don't know how you feel about that, but I know I feel pretty positively about that. Subscribe to stick around, and I will see you later.